Hey, we're gonna be debunking things today in this video. Are you ready? Let's go. I'm gonna talk about some things today that I don't believe in. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now is the time. Thank you. Alright, so this one, I'm also guilty of it. You know, actually I'm seeing a pattern here. I'm actually probably guilty of a lot of these things that I'm talking about. But if I'm guilty of it, maybe you are too, right? So I think it makes sense for me to talk about it. But this one is being in a bubble and not diversifying. You know, when I just came to America, I was around my Jamaican tribe because I was born and I was living in Jamaica forever, all my life up until that point. So I didn't really know any other culture but mine. And then you kind of experience some people, and you know, because you have a way of all things that should be, you know, we call it accepted and familiar, you kind of shun people when they show you something that you are not used to, instead of trying to understand the why behind it. And once you start diversifying and being around different cultures, traveling to different states, because let me tell y'all, even though there are so many different states in the one country, they all have something different about them. They have a lot of different cultures. So even if you travel around the states, you are diversifying. I'm not even talking like traveling to different countries, even though that's taken it to a bigger level. But you diversify yourself by being around different things that are not accepted and familiar to you. And I don't think being in a bubble is going to serve you well, especially if you are a business owner, if you are somebody who is destined to be great, and if you just want to enhance your global mindset. It's not going to happen if you are in a bubble. So you have to step out of that bubble. You can start with small things like trying different cuisine before even traveling, because the chances are all of these different cultures are right around you, surrounding you in different restaurants, cultural events that happen on a weekly basis. So try something out. So for this week, just go to something, do something that you've never experienced before. And trust me, it's gonna surprise you. Try it out. Yeah. Don't shut up. I don't want to hear nothing from you. She's gonna sue me? Yes, she's gonna sue you. Because this next one is, I can do whatever I want. And you absolutely can. I just told that lady to shut up. She also just told me she's gonna sue me. Right? So I can do whatever I want, but so does everybody else. And so does everything else. But at the end of the day, I can do whatever I want, but I'm not free from any other consequences that come with it. I can put my hand on the stove, it's gonna burn me. I can walk out in the rain, I'm gonna get wet. I can walk out in traffic, chances are I'm gonna get hit. I can curse my teacher off, I'm gonna get detention or suspension depending on the school that you go to. I can disrespect other cultures. You know what's gonna happen. You heard the news. But everything that we do, we are free to do it. We are free to say and live as we want, but we have to also be willing to accept all the consequences that come to it. And I used to think that way. I used to think like, you know what, I can say whatever I want. And I do still think, but it has to be said within context. It has to be said with respect to the surrounding and environment. And you have to be willing to face the consequences that come with it. That's bottom line. So this next one, you should know this. You should know that. But what if we aren't taught? What if I was never exposed to this? What if I didn't go to college? What if I didn't experience this cultural shift? What if I didn't experience having these conversations? What if I didn't experience this way of life? Then how am I going to know? We have to stop thinking that somebody should know something. Common sense is not common. That's something that I hear a lot. And it's so true. Not because I have a way of doing things, not because I think of something a particular way means that is the norm. Not everybody thinks this way. And why would I want everybody to think like me? So I want us to stop doing this thing where we're expecting everybody to know everything that we know. Nobody can read our minds. And let's talk about it even on an interpersonal level. You know, when I would do something for a person in my life, or I'm sick, or you know, I expect this person to relate to me a particular way and they don't, and I get mad. But the other person does not know why I'm mad, because I never told them they should do this or they shouldn't do this. Doesn't that sound familiar? Because we do it all the time. So instead of sulking and just getting inside of our own heads and our own egos, why not just communicate to somebody what we would like them to do or not do? Because common sense is not common, and they shouldn't know everything that we want them to do. That's the whole point of building relationship and being in community. Let me know what you think in the comment. This one is, I should achieve this by now. Put in whatever age you think you should achieve something by now. And I absolutely understand it, because social media, which is one of the things that we are on constantly, tells us that these are the things that we should achieve by X, Y, or Z. And maybe if you are at a certain age and you really think that your clock is ticking and you've been working extremely hard and you don't see the results, it's natural for us to think this way, and I get it. But I also want you to understand that if you keep working hard, you're gonna get it. And this is not just motivational speech for you to think, okay, if you just work hard, it's gonna happen. You have to be patient with yourself. I was listening to a billionaire one time talk, and he was saying that, one of the things that we have to do in life is to be patiently aggressive. And that may sound counterintuitive, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, what that means for me, being patiently aggressive, is I work really, really hard at what I'm doing, but I also be patient with myself, and I be patient with the outcome. Anything you always wanted too terribly, how did that turn out for you? I'm not saying you don't want things. I'm saying you should want things. But I'm saying you work really, really hard, but then be patient with yourself for the outcome. Because at that point, you're going to be so much more evolved, and you're going to be able to treat it, sustain it, and be more appreciative at it at that point. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is how it should be done. I hate when people do that to me, because 9 plus 1 is 10, 8 plus 2 is 10, 7 plus 3 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, and the list goes on. You can literally do things different way and end up with the same result. No, like seriously, I'm getting even frustrated talking about this. This is not 1970s. There are a lot of ways that you can do things and get the same result. So I'm not saying that tradition is not good. I'm saying do not be stuck in this mindset that thing has to be done a certain way, because it doesn't have to be. And these people like me and you every single day are breaking barriers and showing up and showing us that it doesn't have to be done the same way. Which one are you going to listen to? Let me know in the comments. So I know I've said a lot and I still have a lot more to say, but before I move on, hit the subscribe button. I'm actually not going to allow you to go past this clip if you haven't. I'm kidding, you can watch, but still hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Alright, so this one, rules are meant to be broken. I may sound like I'm stepping on my own toe because I just talked about things not having to be done the same way. In the accounting field, we have this thing called GAAP, which is the accounting standards that govern everything that we do. For tax law, you have, the tax codes that govern everything you do. And those are rules that you have to follow, because if you violate them, you can end up losing your license, you can end up getting fined, and you can end up losing the authority to practice in the space that you have practiced. So I'm talking about rules that if you break them, you are going to be jeopardized. Seriously, I'm not talking about traditional careers and those things that you can play around with. I'm talking about serious things. Let me use this for an example. A client reached out to me, a potential client, because this person did not become a client. This person reached out to me, said that he's interested in my services. I'm like, okay. I instructed him, this is how you go about booking the services. He said, okay. He kept going on and asking other questions. Now, I do not like to text back and forth. Like, I like to just send a message, you get it, we move on. Or if it's really going to take that back and forth, let's talk on the phone. He decided to not do that, and he's trying to find other ways to reach out to me and just constantly showing up in a way that was unprofessional. So I reached back out to him and I said, you know what? I'm not going to work with you anymore, because first of all, I like to work with people who can follow instructions. Right? Because that makes my job easier. And if you're going to show me this in the initial phase when we are not working together yet, that you clearly do not understand how to follow instruction, that's going to be a problem for me. I don't want to work with anybody who's going to make the job a lot more stressful than it needs to be. And so I declined this offer. This is just a small example this was not something that was detrimental to this person. But we could have been partners if he decided to follow the rules, because I'm running a professional business and I'm not going to be gimmicking around and have you come disrespect my work. It's either you're going to follow the rules or we're not going to work together, and that's okay. But in life, how many times have you disregarded a particular rule in a space that you should follow and you don't follow it, and you had a lot of detrimental consequences? So, rules that are about breaking the status quo and those type of things should be broken, but rules put in place that you should follow, because we all need to be governed by some sort of rule, those are not meant to be broken. So go ahead and break those, and just like I said before, you're gonna just have to face the consequences. Alright, so this next one, act before you think. Now, this one is a little bit special, and honestly, I'm a thinker, so for me, I have to be working on my action, doing part of things. But, and I always tell myself this, if I actually put in as much action as I do thoughts, I would be crushing my goals by now. No second guessing about that. But at the same time, I still don't believe we should act before we think. So this is a little exercise that I'm going to be giving to you. If you are action before you think type of person, this is what I'm going to be giving to you. And if you are a thinker like me, I'm also going to be giving you an exercise as well. So if you're an action taker and thinking is something that's like, oh, I'm not going to think about it, I'm going to just do whatever. If it's something that is detrimental, that can be very harmful to you. So one of the things that you can do, take 5 seconds to think about all the possible outcomes. Start with 5. And in that 5 seconds, I'm sure you're going to find one reason why you probably shouldn't go ahead with it. And if that's a strong enough reason, take a lot more time to think about it before you act. Because I think that will help you if it's something that is very, very serious. Now for my thinkers, like me, like your girl, who overthinks everything, I want you to think about something, and here we go with thinking again. But if it's something that can be undone, once it comes to your mind, just act on it. Just act on it immediately and get into the habit of doing, right? Obviously, if it's something that's a lot more serious, you need to take a lot more time. But practice taking the healthy amount of time to think, not the days and the months and the year if it's something that is easily undone. Because if it's easily undone, you cannot do it. What do you think? One thing that I'm really fascinated by is watching people make decisions. I really get a gist out of it, because sometimes you see all the emotions on sometimes. You see their body movement, you see everything, and sometimes I can even tell what they're gonna do before they even do it. I think that's a superpower. Yeah. I'm not tooting my horn. I think other people can do that, but I really like to see people make decisions. I like to see the rush. I don't like to be in the nervous spot when I'm the one making a decision, but I love to see, because it really just shows our vulnerabilities. What do you think? Tell me what you think about it. Is that creepy? Is that something that you do? Let me know in the comment. So I think I'm making a trend now. Every time I sit down talking about something urgent and important. No pun intended. Because this one is, not everything that's urgent is important, and vice versa. So I think just like we confuse our wants and needs, we oftentimes confuse things that are urgent and things that are important, and they are not the same. Something important, for example, could be, it's January 15 and I have to file my taxes April 15. This is important, but it's not something that's happening today, so I can put it off a little bit, right? On the flip side, something urgent would be, today's April 15 and I have to file my taxes today. You see the difference? I use the same example because I wanted to make it clear, but that just shows the distinction between something that's important and something that's urgent. So in our lives, in our personal lives, we have to be able to distinguish these things, because oftentimes I think we spend a lot of time on busy work that is important but is not urgent, and we push aside the things that we really need to be working on right now. So another homework, I know I'm giving you a lot of homework, but I think you can really truly see what's going on with you when you write things down. So really assess yourself and figure out what are some things that are urgent, what are some things that are important, and focus your energy and your effort on these things that are urgent right now. And then so you can clear up space for the important stuff. But do not confuse the two, because they're not the same all the time, and that's sometimes why we're not crushing our goals. We focus on the wrong things at the wrong time. Let me put that in there. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now is the time. Thank you. I know I said a lot today. I talked your ears off, and I'm not really sorry, because I really think it's important to put things into perspective. And these are my perspective that I've developed over time. As I said, a lot of these things that I've talked about, maybe I used to believe in them, but I shifted my mindset because I just don't see them working anymore. And if I was able to shift your mindset, at least had some value to you, please hit the like button and the subscribe button too, and share this with somebody who needs to see this, who can benefit from this content. And yeah, rewatch it if you want to catch up on something, or you can just go back to any of my other videos and check them out. I'm going to be leaving a link to what the video that I did last week at the end of this video, and you can always go scroll on my page. Scroll. There's something for everyone there. Thank you so much for your time and for staying with me this week, and as always, I'll see you in my next video.